Welcome back, everybody, to Spreadzies. I'm Luca alongside Jelani, and we are here with our Week 6 picks. It was a wild Week 5, a lot of great games. And before we dive into this week's slate of games, let's just quickly recap and see how we did last week. Last week, I went 9-7, slightly above 500. I'll take it to now bring my overall record to 25-22. Jelani, how you looking right now?
Yeah, so I got 10-6 this week. So yeah, an improvement. I'll take it. So right now I'm at 26-22 overall.
Nice. So it's going to be neck and neck between you and I going down to the wire. We know
For
the bet's
sure.
on the line. So yeah, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting really, really soon.
Facts. Facts. We'll see what happens.
All right, man. Before we get into week 6 games, give me your biggest standout from week 5.
Biggest standout, honestly, I'm gonna say that game in LA. We're seeing Justin Herbert come into his own, and right now I think that he's the MVP. I know you might want to say, guys like Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all those guys, Tom Brady even, but I'm just so impressed with what I've been seeing so far from the Chargers as a whole. Brandon Staley coming in, he's changed the whole culture, and yeah, Justin Herbert, I call him the truth. This guy is just something else. So we'll see what happens down the line with them and the Chiefs in that division. But yeah, the Chargers are impressing me a lot. It was a game where we saw a lot of points. It was probably the most fun game of the weekend. But yeah, Justin Herbert, man, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's killing it. I got to go with the Bills on Sunday Night Football, Jelani. We both picked the Chiefs, and the Bills went into that game delay and all, and they absolutely dismantled the Chiefs on prime time. That was a great performance. Josh Allen and those boys are for real. Defense playing well, and that was a team in the Chiefs that beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game. So a little bit of redemption, and I think the Bills proved to everybody that they right now are the best team in the AFC. Of course, the Chargers, I think, are right there. You got some other teams you can't forget about, but the Bills, they look hungry, they look motivated, and they really want to put everybody on notice that this is the team to beat in the AFC, and they got Super Bowl on their mind. I mean, it's hard to bet against this team right now with what they've been able to do. So yeah, the Bills, the way they won in that spot against the Chiefs, putting pressure now on Kansas City. What's going on with them? We'll get to them a little bit later on. But yeah, the Bills to me were definitely the biggest standout from week 5.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like the Chiefs, we'll talk. Yeah, like we said, we'll talk about them later. But it was a great performance by the Bills overall. And we're seeing that they might have the best roster, like entirely the roster construction from offense, defense, special teams in the AFC right now.
Yeah, stacked on both sides of the ball. Okay, without further ado, let's get into our week 6 picks against the spread. And we're going to start here with the Thursday nighter. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, lane 7 on the road against the Eagles. Who do you got in the spot?
Yeah, give me Tampa Bay. They're looking really good. They're coming off of a game against Miami where Tom Brady threw touchdowns at ease. With ease, it just seems like they're getting the ball rolling now on offense. And we all know they have an Avengers team. They have all these guys on offense that Brady can work with. And also we saw action from Gio Bernard in the backfield. He'll expect to get more touches soon. And, Fournette, all these guys out there, and the O-line's playing pretty well as well. So Tampa Bay's offense will come into this game looking for points. Can the Eagles stop them and stop the bleeding? I don't think so. I don't think the Eagles defense is ready for what's to come. And as for Jalen Hurts offensively, the Eagles will need to put points on the board. You have a defense in Tampa Bay that has been, a bit questionable this year, especially the secondary, I'd say, but I don't know if the Eagles can keep up. So give me the Bucs here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough to trust the Eagles offense, but I'm banking on this being a low scoring, gritty game. The Eagles just seem to always play Brady tough in these spots. 7 points seems a little bit like too many points here. I know Tampa's been putting up their number, but on the road, taking on this Eagles team where that defense still looked good a week ago, pulling off the upset against Carolina, forcing to Darnold to a couple of picks. I think they're going to carry that momentum here. And yeah, I know there's a big discrepancy with quarterback play with Brady and Hurts, but I do think there's going to be a low-scoring game where the defenses are going to have to make some plays. So I'm going to actually take the points here. I think Tampa Bay still does win, but I can see it maybe being 3 or 4 point win versus that full 7 points. So the Eagles, Thursday nighter, prime time, that crowd is going to be rocking. They keep, I see Eagles fans all the time on Twitter. They keep bragging about how they did beat Brady in that Super Bowl and how they're still in Brady's head, if you will. So, those fans are going to be rocking. They're going to be ready to go. The energy is going to be there. So, I'm going to take the 7 points. I might regret it big time, but I'll go with the Eagles in the spot.
All right, and now we got Miami and Jacksonville. So this is an early game. Okay, I think they're playing in London, just like we saw the Jets and Falcons this week. So the over/under here is 3.5. Luca, where are you going with this one?
Tough game. We don't know if Tua is going to be available. He could be available, but I'm going to go with the notion that Brissett does play in this one. Both these teams need a win. Both these teams have looked ugly. The Jags are on a 21-game losing streak at this point. Miami has looked bad, but I don't know how Miami's a 3.5-point favorite in this spot. I think this is going to be a field goal game, so I don't know who wins, but I'll take the points. That's usually what I go with whenever I'm unsure about who's going to win. I take the points. I take the dog. So no home team in this one. Like you said, they're playing in London. Jacksonville, they have shown some flashes of, they showed flashes in that game against Cincinnati. And then when you thought they were going to look good against Tennessee, they just got blown out by them. So I don't know which version of Jacksonville is going to show up here. Again, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, field goal type of game. Whoever has the ball last wins. So I'll take the points, plus 3.5 for Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville needs one. They're all losing games, and we're losing the locker room in terms of what's happened with Urban Meyer recently, and just questions all over the place, right? But the Jags aren't necessarily a bad team. There were some games where they came out playing pretty well, like that Cardinals game, for example. They were leading in that one. You looked at the Bengals game, again leading in that one. So they have some signs of hope. I'm going to go with the Jags here. I think that the Dolphins, without Tua, they just haven't looked the same. I don't know if Jacoby Brissett is a guy that we could really rely on to have consistent play. He might have a nice Sunday. You never know. But I can't really put my faith in that. So I'm going to go with the Jags here. I think that they come up big on a day where they're playing not in Jacksonville, but they're playing in London. Necessarily, you could say it's kind of like a home crowd-ish feel for the Jaguars going there every year. I think that they get one done. Why? Because they need to, right? All these questions, like I said, all this drama going on in the locker room. You have a rookie quarterback. Things haven't looked too good so far, but they do kind of play pretty hard in certain games. And I think this is one that is actually closer than people will think.
Yeah, they need one. I mean, it's funny. Last year, Minshew, after getting the win in the opener, they were 1-0. He's like, we're not satisfied with this, and they haven't won since. So bad omen in this game. No one's going to bet on this game. Let's be real. Stay away from this game because we have no idea how this one's going to play out. But we both got Jacksonville if we do have to take pick a winner in this one. Okay, next game. We got the Cincinnati Bengals minus 3.5 against the Lions. This is an interesting game because the Lions, they're winless, Jelani, but they have been playing very hard in every single one of these games.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Detroit fans and Dan Campbell. I thought they were going to win last week. They had it, and then again, a late field goal somehow, some way. And it's funny because it was the Vikings that, got that to go. It never happens for them. But anyway, I think that this week is going to be the same. Sorry, Lions fans. I think that Joe Burrow is where I got to go here. The Bengals are looking really good. They should have beat the Packers. If they had a kicker that could put it through the uprights, we're talking about a 4-1 Bengals team right now. The defense has improved a lot from last season. We're also seeing a lot of improvement from their offense. Joe Burrow, we need to protect him. That's for sure. But when he is protected, he gets the ball to his guys, specifically Jamar Chase, who's looked really, really good so far in the year. But yeah, Joe Mixon as well. I think he's going to have a big day against this Lions defense. And as for the Lions offense, what are they going to do? Is Jared Goff going to show up in the big moments? Because I do think this is going to be a close game. Once again, the Lions, they play really hard. So I have to give them credit for that. I don't think that they're necessarily 0-5. They're a really good 0-5 team. But again, I don't know if this team can finish. They just can't finish games somehow. And I don't know why that is. So I'm going to put, I'm going to give the points here to the Bengals. I think the Bengals get this one.
Yeah, the line should be 2-3. They should have beat the Ravens, my Ravens, a couple weeks ago. And then last week, yeah, going for 2. I thought they had it. And then they once again lose on a last-second field goal. They're the first team in NFL history to lose 2 games by a field goal from 50 yards or more. So that just tells you these are the Detroit Lions. They're never going to change. But like you said, Jelani, I feel for Dan Campbell crying in that post-game presser. He's emotionally invested with this team. He wants to win so much. I love him as a head coach. He's probably one of my favorite head coaches right now in the NFL. The dude just wants to win. He's definitely earned the respect of all those players in the locker room. I think they're going to play hard here. And again, yeah, I think this is going to be a close game. The Lions, especially when they're at home, they make these games interesting. This will be a field goal game, so I'm going to take the points with the Lions plus 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised if they do pull off the upset, because you look at the Bengals, they have been impressive, but they too have played in a lot of close games. So here's a stat. The Bengals have played in 5 games so far this season. 4 of those games have been decided by exactly 3 points. So that tells you got a team on one side that plays close, the other team that plays close. This has the making for being probably a great 1 o'clock game. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Lions plus 3.5. And this is a team that, unless you're, a Packers fan, Bears fan, Vikings fan, everybody else, like, you look at the Lions play and you got to root for them a little bit. I mean, they show heart, they show passion, and they got to get a win eventually. So I like the Lions here plus 3.5. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do pull off that upset. And it's interesting to note, I'll say one last thing, Jelani, about Burrow. Aaron Rodgers' comments about Burrow saying, you got to slide, man. We've seen it so many times before. You try to make a play and then it ends up taking a lot of years from your career. So I thought those comments were very interesting following that game between the Packers and the Bengals.
I was just going to say, yeah, Joe, he did take a big hit in that game against the Packers, and it was questionable. I even said slide just because, those questions with the knee and everything like that. Yeah,
and we've seen players in the past before like Andrew Luck and, other QBs. So I thought it was really professional of Rodgers to tell Burrow that, because he's like, hey, listen, you're a great player. Don't be dumb out there with these plays, just slide. So, yeah, it was a good moment for sure. Next game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, desperate need of a win. We talked about them earlier a little bit. They're 7-point favorites on the road. They take on the Washington football team. Who do you like?
Man, what I've seen so far from the Chiefs, I don't know if I should even take them here with the 7. It's a touchdown game. But when you're thinking about the past, like, this is a team that can put points on the board and everything like that. I'm going to put my faith in the Chiefs this week. I'm pointing to the Washington defense. I just haven't been impressed with them this season. And, they were supposed to be a team that featured probably a top 5, top 3 type of defense, right? And that hasn't been the case so far this year. And the Chiefs have not been looking good at all. The problem there is their defense, right? They have none. They need something, right? It's all 3 levels. They rely too much on Patrick Mahomes in this team, and we have to see the running game. There's no running game in KC to speak of, and plus, Edwards-Helaire, he's hurt, so that doesn't help anything, right? He got hurt in their last game. KC needs a win here, because if you fall, you end up 2-4 in a division where we see the Chargers rolling right now. Yes, the Raiders have a couple losses now on their schedule, but maybe they find a way. And also, the Broncos, they're not a bad team, right? They have a pretty good defense over there, so they could probably get some wins. And they almost made a comeback in Pittsburgh. So they can't go 2-4 right now. I just need to see if they can wake up, right? Because at some point they're going to have to. And hopefully they do, because the questions right now are, do they have a defense? No. Are they one-dimensional? Yes, on offense, always relying on Pat Mahomes and a lot of turnovers. We need to see that, reduced for sure. But yeah, no, give me the Chiefs here, because Washington, I don't know if they have enough to really hang with them this week.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Chiefs in a bounce back spot. I'm laying the 7 as well. A lot of people panicking. I think this is going to be the game where if somehow the Chiefs lose, yeah, you officially panic and you can start talking about some of the things that we've seen out there of, is this Chiefs team going to miss the playoffs? et cetera, et cetera. Because you do look at their losses, they do have losses against playoff teams. Let's call it for what it is. You know, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chargers. But they have not looked good at all, even in, you know, some of those wins, because the Eagles were actually putting up points against them too. That was a game that I watched closely because we both had the Chiefs in that one. And the only reason why the Chiefs covered was because, the Eagles just couldn't stop that offense. So I think there's going to be a similar theme where the Chiefs offense is going to just do a lot of good things out there. Washington's not going to respond. But can that defense get on track and make some stops? I mean, if Heineke looks good this week, that defense is officially a mess, and I have no more hope for it. So this is actually a big spot for that defense to get back on track, make some plays, and actually look somewhat decent, because we know the offense, Patrick Mahomes has made a lot of questionable throws, but you know that offense is going to show up more times than not. It's the defense that we're all concerned about. So this is a big game for the Chiefs. I do think they're going to win. I do think they're going to cover. But if they were to lose this game, I think it's officially panic time in Kansas City, and you could start realistically talking about this team might miss the playoffs, just given how good the AFC is. And like you said, that division, really, really good, because if the Chiefs lose this game, Jelani, and the Chargers win, the Chargers all of a sudden are 3 games up, plus the tiebreaker because they beat the Chiefs in the head-to-head. You can kiss the division goodbye. I know it's still really early in the season, but this is a big game that they have to have. So I agree. I think they do bounce back. -7. Give me the Chiefs here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. They need this one. And, you know, if they don't get it done, like you said, the questions will arise about them possibly missing the playoffs. And that's unthinkable right now when you have Mahomes and company. But now let's move to the Vikings and the Panthers. Vikes 1-point favorites here. Luca, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'll give them the slight advantage here because the Vikings, they have played a lot of tough teams. And I know this is a team that a lot of the times they play in close games. But you look at the Panthers right now, Jelani, they're sliding. They do not look good in these last 2 losses that they've had. Darnold maybe showing flashes of his old self, you know, making some bad throws, getting picked off. And I think McCaffrey not being there is finally starting to catch up to this Panthers team. I mean, that's a game they should have won against the Eagles. They were up 2, and they just let the Eagles come back and take that game away from them. So this is a big game for the Panthers. I mean, if you want to prove to people that you are going to be in the thick of things when it comes to the playoff chase and the playoff mix, you got to win this game. It's going to be another home game. You cannot afford to lose 3 in a row. For the Vikings, if they lost last week against the Lions, this would have been an even bigger game for them. But, you know, getting that win, we've seen the theme with them, right? They'll get a win and then they lose. Very inconsistent. So I don't trust them in 2 straight wins here, especially when they got to go on the road to take on a Panthers team that is, you know, still showing a lot of good things early on in the season. So, this is a coin flip. It's a toss-up. So, I'll take the Panthers at home, just given the fact that they are home. And I do think they'll put an end to that 2-game skid.
Yeah, I'm going Panthers here as well. I do think, though, that Kirk Cousins has played pretty well on the year. I think that when you're talking about this game, it's going to be the quarterback battle. Who's coming up larger? Who's playing better during this game? We have Sam Darnold, like you said. You know, he started off really hot, one of the better quarterbacks to start the season. But the past 2 weeks, you know, he's slowed down a bit, especially last week, I'd say. Not necessarily the Dallas game, but I'd say definitely the Eagles game, because that was one where they let go. I think that they should have had that one for sure. And, you know, the running game without Christian McCaffrey hasn't really been there. Hubbard, can he carry this team through? I do think they'll need to run the football on Sunday. But, I think Carolina with that defense, they'll end up playing a better game against Kirk Cousins than the Vikings defense will end up playing against Sam Darnold. So I will go with the Carolina Panthers here. Give me the points there.
Okay, we both agree with that pick. Next game, divisional battle. Houston Texans taking on the Colts. The Colts, big number here. 10-point favorites at home. Do you think they cover it or not?
I don't think they cover it. I'm going to go with the Texans here. The Texans, they played pretty tough against the Patriots, and I was surprised. Why? Because Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks, we all know the story. But no, Davis Mills, he had a pretty good game, and they almost had that one. They should have won that one, actually, but didn't happen. But this week, I'm going to take the Texans and why. It's a divisional game. And all these divisional games, usually they end up being very close, either 1 point, 2 point, 3 point games. So I'm going to go here with the Texans. They aren't necessarily a bad team. It's just, the roster construction might not be as good as other teams in the NFL right now. However, they do play pretty hard for David Culley. And I do notice that with the first 5 weeks of the season, I do think here that Davis Mills will end up having a pretty nice game. And why? Because the Colts defense, they haven't really been as good this year either. And we saw what happened on Monday night against the Ravens. They had that game in the bag. And then they ended up just cracking on defense and letting Lamar Jackson make a comeback, right? So I do think that the Texans do have an opportunity to do some damage on Sunday. If you ask me who am I going to take in this game for a win-loss, I would take Indianapolis, but I don't think it's going to be by a landslide. I don't think this is going to be a game where we see Carson Wentz putting up a million points on the board and they just destroy Houston. I think that Houston's going to come up big, rivalry game, going to be close. And the Colts, I mean, I don't know what's really going on with them. I had them probably being a playoff team this year. They don't really look like it right now. It's pretty unfortunate given the fact that we thought this could be Carson Wentz's resurrection on a new team, Frank Reich there, all that history with them, in Philadelphia. But yeah, no, it hasn't really looked that good so far. And a lot of it is due to that defense, right? Not coming up big at all. So I take the points here with the Texans, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a divisional game. You never know.
Yeah, both these teams should be coming off wins. Texans up big against the Pats. They blew it. And then, like you said, the Colts up big against my Ravens. I thought that game was over watching Monday Night Football. And then Lamar Jackson just went Superman mode. I mean, the Ravens were down by 16 with, I think, like 9 minutes left. Gets 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions. Yeah, that Colts defense couldn't stop anything. This is a lot of points. I agree with you. I'm taking the Texans plus 10. And Davis Mills, 3 touchdowns, 312 yards passing against Bill Belichick, who, like you said, typically dominates rookie quarterbacks. Really impressive there. Texans, I think, are going to carry that momentum here. It's going to be a close game. I don't trust that Colts defense to getting stopped. So, yeah, this could be a field goal battle. Very close divisional game. So I'll take the Texans plus 10. And, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they even pull off the upset. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, the Texans plus 10 and the Colts. That was a team that I thought too, Jelani, could maybe be in the mix for even the division, but I've not liked what I've seen from them. So I'm going to just pass on them being a playoff team, and I think it's going to be a rough rest of the season for them.
All right. So we're continuing with the 1:00 games. We have the Rams playing the Giants. The Rams are favored 10 here, Luca. It's pretty big, but given all the injuries in New York, this might make some sense. What do you think?
Yeah, given all the injuries, I got to go with the Rams here, minus 10. I think this is going to be a big win for them on the road. Remember, they did play on Thursday night football, so they're going to have 10 days rest. And very unfortunate stuff for the Giants. I really thought if those injuries didn't happen on Sunday against the Cowboys, that would have been a much closer game than it ended up being. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, both those guys coming out of that game. Saquon, we know now, is going to miss a couple of weeks. Jones' status is still up in the air. So you're hoping if you're a Giants fan, he can play, but I'm not too sure if he plays in this game, especially with concussions and those injuries being very tricky. You don't want to rush him back here. So even if he does go, I think this Giants team is depleted. They're going up against a Rams team that does have all that rest, like I mentioned, stacked on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to cause havoc for Jones if he does play. And I like Stafford to have a big game through the air. This Rams team, hard to bet against them right now after they had that little bit of a slip up against Arizona, came back, looked really good against the Seahawks. That was a big win for them. And just very unfortunate stuff with the Giants because this is a team that has played hard. That defense has done a lot of good things, but it's going to be a tall task for that defense when their offense is just stagnant and constantly going 3 and out and not doing a lot of good things. So I think that will be the theme here. The defense is simply going to get gassed, allowing for Stafford and those receivers to have a big day. So it's a big number, road game, but I got to take it here. Minus 10, Rams win big.
Yeah, the Rams on paper and on the field are just the better team, right? If we want to keep it simple. And also New York with all the injuries, it just hurts them a lot. Even though they're my rivals, I'm a Cowboys fan, don't like the Giants. I don't like seeing injuries, right? and they had a plethora of injuries this week. You said Saquon, that was like just an accident injury. That was so random. And then we see Daniel Jones with a concussion. They also didn't have Darius Slayton. They didn't have Sterling Shepard on Sunday. I heard that Kenny Golladay might miss this week. So those are all their weapons basically on offense. So what are they going to do, right? You can't just rely on Kadarius Toney on the offense. So it's going to be a tough week. You're playing one of the better defenses in the league, one of the defenses that has a guy like Aaron Donald, has a guy in the back like Jalen Ramsey. It's going to be a long day for New York, unfortunately. And yeah, Matt Stafford, I think that this offense, again, they put points on the board. They're a dangerous offense. I don't know if the Giants can hang. The Giants defense, we saw what happened to them against Dallas. I mean, Dallas, one of the better offenses, just like LA is, right? So LA, they know what to do. They're going to come in here looking for an easy win, and they're going to get it done.
Yeah, if Daniel Jones is officially ruled out before kickoff, I wouldn't be surprised if that number gets even bigger for the Rams as a favorite. Next game here, big game. I'm excited for this one, Jelani. Chargers, Ravens, massive game. Ravens, 3.5-point favorites. Are you surprised by that before you get into your pick?
Yeah, I am, to be honest with you. I am.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm a Ravens fan. So who do you like in the spot?
I'm going with the Chargers, man. I'm going with the Chargers. Hate to say it, but what did I say originally? I say that the truth is in LA. That is Justin Herbert. I believe in him this week. And the Ravens, the only thing with the Ravens is that there are some games on their schedule where they could have lost, right? You talk about the Lions game. They could have lost that one. You're talking about the game on Monday night against Indy. I thought Indy had that in the bag. But kudos to Lamar Jackson with that, exceptional performance. But, there are some games where the Ravens, they come out pretty slow. I don't know if that's going to be a good recipe on Sunday when you're playing a team in LA that has the offense that could put things on the board. They're always on the board, always getting in the end zone. And they're always, they're a team that takes chances, right? Fourth downs, they don't care. They're going to go for it, right? And that's the thing. Can Harbaugh and the Ravens, can they hang with this team? I do think this will be a game where we see fireworks. I do expect the Ravens to also do some damage offensively for sure. This might be, a game similarly to the Browns-Chargers game where we see a lot of points on the board, like I said. But again, I don't know if Justin Herbert and this offense will be shut down as much as people think. I do think that the Chargers are the way to go with this one. I wonder what you're going to say with this week. It's a big game, right? And also, these are two teams that we're talking about in terms of playoffs. I know it's early, but we're talking about the playoffs, and this might be a playoff matchup. You never know. And a lot of people are like, outside of the Bills, these are the two favorites right now in the AFC, the two strongest teams, and two guys, right? This is where it's really interesting. These are two guys who are vying for MVP consideration. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers though on this one. I think that they are going to come up a bit bigger in this game. And I don't know if a slow start from Baltimore will be beneficial.
Yeah, they cannot afford to get off to a slow start like they did against the Colts, or else it's game over early on. I agree with you. I think the Chargers, you have to take the points here. I'm surprised they weren't the favorites coming in because you look at that Baltimore team, that defense has been bad. I mean, look at how that defense played against Carson Wentz and the Colts. I mean, the running game was killing the Ravens, and I was sitting there watching that game like, can the Ravens stop the damn run and stop some of these Carson Wentz throws? And all of a sudden, you play a souped-up version of that with the Chargers getting points, every single drive, it seems. Like you said, going for it on their own, 20, 25-yard line on fourth down. This is a team that they play big. They love, passing it big. That running game has been impressive. Herbert has been so fun to watch. Yeah, this could be one of those games that first one of 40 wins. But yeah, I just don't trust the Ravens to slow down Herbert. I think Herbert's going to do whatever he wants out there. And I like the Chargers plus 3.5. I would not be surprised if they win this game. The Ravens, they have gotten lucky in a lot of those games, like you mentioned. Like, this is a team where they're not playing as well as their record shows right now. And they should have lost that game against the Lions, and they should have lost that game on Monday night. I'm still trying to figure out how the Colts blew that game. And yeah, that's just a testament to how well Lamar has played. And this is going to be two MVP candidates going head to head. So we'll see. If the Ravens defense surprises me, I think they could take this one, but just given from what I've seen, Jelani, I don't see this Ravens defense showing up here against the Chargers offense that right now is the most explosive offense in all of football. So I like the Chargers in the spot.
Right. They do have to stop the run. Austin Eckler playing great football right now for fantasy owners. And now let's move to a game in Chicago. This is a division battle. This is probably the most famous battle in the NFL in terms of division rivalry. We have the Packers, we have the Bears. The Pack are favored here, 4.5 points. So Luca, do you agree with that? Or do you think that Justin Fields and company will come up big in this one?
I'm taking the Packers -4.5 on the road. Credit to the Bears. That was a big win last week. They won that game outright. They were 5.5-point underdogs against the Raiders. That defense shut down that Raiders offense. I don't think that defense is going to be able to contain and shut down Aaron Rodgers. You look at this rivalry historically, especially with Aaron Rodgers as the QB for the Packers, he has co-owned the Bears. I mean, this is a guy that plays his best football against the Chicago Bears. Amazing touchdown to INT ratio, amazing winning percentage. That defense can play well here, but I still do trust the Packers to win this game by at least a touchdown. So I will go with that. I see a score line of like Packers 24, Bears 17. And yeah, the last thing I'm going to say about this, you look at the quarterback play and you got to go with Aaron Rodgers, over Fields. There's a big discrepancy there. Don't think Fields can keep up with Rodgers. That Bears defense won that game last week because Chicago didn't wow you with their offense. It was their defense that came up big. Khalil Mack and those boys. So the same thing's not going to be said this week. Like I said, you can try to slow down Rodgers, but you're not going to shut him down. You're not going to contain him. So this is going to be a big day for Rodgers. And once again, he's going to have a win against the Bears, and it's going to be by touchdown. So I'm taking the Pack -4.5.
Yeah, all your points were right. I'm taking the Packers as well. I don't think that the Bears have enough to hang with the Packers this week. And again, like Aaron Rodgers, like you said, he just owns this team. He does whatever he wants with this team. I expect a big day from Devontae Adams, arguably the best receiver in the game. I don't know if the Bears can stop him. And also the running game, Aaron Jones, I expect a big day from him as well. Yes, the Bears defense, they did come up big in Vegas. That was a very good win for them for sure. But again, when you're playing a team in the Packers, one of the contenders in the NFC, a team that you're looking up to, I don't know if Chicago is ready for this. And yeah, Justin Fields, I mean, this is his first duel with Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to see, man, we can't just settle for field goals. They're going to have to convert on third down. They're going to have to find ways to, you move the offense. They have to move the offense this week. The running game, I mean, David Montgomery hurt, right? So I don't know how this is going to look for Chicago on Sunday. So yeah, give me the Bears. Sorry, no, give me the Packers, excuse me. Even though they're on the road at Bears, I just think that, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, he knows what to do. And I also think that they just want to get off of this week, right? They had a game against the Bengals where they should have won easily, but that wasn't the case. It was really a game of luck, right? They received some luck late for the field goal kicking. And yeah, Mason Crosby, by the way, I do think he's going to hit his field goals this week. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be as tight as that game against the Bengals was on Sunday.
Yeah, we agree with that pick. Okay, next game here, Jelani, it's a great one. You got the undefeated Arizona Cardinals taking on the explosive fireworks of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, -2.5-point favorites here against the undefeated Cardinals. What's your reaction to that, and who do you like in this game?
I kind of understand that they're favored here. They're at home. You're playing a defense. The Cardinals are going to play a defense in Cleveland that can get to the quarterback. But I just don't know. I don't agree with this one. I'm going to go Cardinals. I think that the Cardinals are going to win outright, and I'm going to take them with the spread. I believe in Kyler Murray. He's looking so good right now. Arguably the MVP, like we mentioned earlier in the show. He's just doing things that have really gotten this offense to be number one right now. And we see DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, new arrival coming up big this season. The running game is there as well. So everything's put in place for the Cardinals. They're 5-0 right now, the last unbeaten. I do believe that this is not going to be an easy game at all. I don't think this will be easy. Why? Because the Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, they're a team that knows how to run the football. So clock management, that would be huge for this game. Just keeping Kyler Murray on the bench. I think that's the name of the game for the Cleveland Browns this week. And also Baker Mayfield, how is he going to play this week, right? Some questions, some Browns fans aren't too sure. Is he playing well enough for this team? I think that he's doing a pretty good job. However, I don't know what's going on with Odell Beckham and that whole chemistry, that whole relationship. I'd like to see it start, gelling really, moving forward, because it hasn't so far, right? We saw the Chargers game barely targeted, right? Yeah. Especially late when they needed plays. I was expecting, an Odell catch here or there. Didn't happen. So I think that that's something to watch for the Browns, that and the running game. But you know what? The Cardinals, with that offense, so explosive. Kingsbury right now, early favorite for Coach of the Year. I think they come in here and they shock the Browns fans and actually prove once again, that they are a team to be reckoned with this year. Because some teams, and some people don't really believe in the Cardinals hype right now. I buy into it because Kyler Murray, again, he's an escape artist. He could throw, he could run, he could do everything. And yeah, Myles Garrett and company, they're going to have to get to him. But honestly, I think, I'd recommend them to keep him in the pocket, because, when he's out of the pocket, it's over. But give me the Cardinals here.
Yeah, great game. This is going to be the Cardinals. This is going to be a big test for them. They're on the road. I can see why they're underdogs here. I think this is going to prove to be a tough spot. I actually like the Browns here. I'm going to lay the 2.5. I think they put an end to the undefeated record here. The Browns, I think, are legitimate. That is a team that could have won last week. There were a couple of questionable calls late that went against them, pass interference calls. And the Browns, that offense was clicking. And I think you hit it on the head earlier. A big key is going to be the running back play. And I think the Browns are going to do exactly that. Just pound the football with Chubb and Hunt, which what they were doing against the Chargers. And they're going to have to do a whole lot of more in this game. Keep that offense of Arizona off the field. Keep Kyler Murray off the field. And Baker Mayfield, like you said, Jelani, he's been, under a lot of scrutiny in the past. I think he has played well this season, well enough. And I think he is showing that Browns fans can count on him to make big plays when needed. I was impressed with how he was able to respond to some of those drives by Justin Herbert and company. And this is a Browns team that likes the big play. Long ball, all of a sudden, they put a touchdown on the board, or all of a sudden Chubb or Hunt, cracked a run for 50 yards plus. Like, this is a team that loves playing that style of play. Can they come up with some stops? I think so. I think if they can contain Kyler Murray in the pocket, make him a passer more so than a runner, it's going to put some more pressure on him. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. You could go either way with this, but I do like the Browns to put an end to the Cardinals' undefeated streak. This is going to be a big game for the Browns, coming off of that emotional loss last week. They're going to be ready for this one at home. I'm taking the Browns in a close one, -2.5. Next game on the slate, Raiders, Broncos, 3-point favorites. And we know the news, Jelani. Gruden steps down as the Raiders head coach. What's your reaction to the news? And let me know who you like in the spot.
Yeah, the news this week was huge. Like, we weren't really expecting this to happen. They had a great start to the year, undefeated. The Raiders are back. And then all this happens. It's unfortunate. I'd say, John Gruden, he's very, close with that Raiders organization. So I feel like the fans are hurt that this had to happen and that all these things, came up and came about. But again, I think it had to be done. Why? Because if you kept him, then all these, all this drama would carry over, week by week. The questions would rise and increase about, the emails and why would you say these sort of things, all that type of stuff, right? And the locker room questions, like how are the guys feeling? How are the players feeling about their head coach? All these things would have to happen had he stayed. So I think that this was, the right decision. It had to happen. It was going to happen regardless. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that, one, the emails, those things were said about, multiple communities, which was unfortunate. And then also just the fact that the Raiders had a good start to the year, and now the drama is here, right? And all the problems have come. And this comes after recent losses as well. So they do need one here, right? But as for the game, I don't think they're going to get it done just because all this is happening right now. I don't think that their head is in the right spot right now, given the fact that they weren't expecting their coach to be gone before week 6. So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos in a divisional battle where we'll see a lot of defense being played. I think this is going to be a low score game. And when you're giving me, the Raiders defense against the Broncos defense, give me the Broncos. I have more trust in them. I know that they came up short in Pittsburgh. However, they've had a pretty good year. They do have a pretty nice defensive unit. It's just on the offense. Can they get things on the board? Can they score some points with Teddy Bridgewater and company? I do think that this week is one in Mile High. It's going to be tough for the Raiders to come in there and get a win. So yeah, give me the Broncos points here. But yeah, all these questions, all this drama surrounding Las Vegas right now is not helpful at all. I do think that they dropped yet another game, and now people are going to be like, okay, so the start of the year, were they fraudulent? Was it, just another year where the Raiders, because usually the past few years under Gruden, they've had good starts and then they just drop off in play or something has to happen and then they end up losing their way. So yeah, I think that the Broncos are the pick here.
Yeah, I just feel bad for Raiders Nation right now. I feel bad for those players who looked up to John Gruden. He let them down. And people are going to say, oh, it happened 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. You got to be held accountable for what you said. And you just simply can't say those types of things that he said. So they had to part ways with him. Gruden had to step down. And now it's going to be a reflection of this team because you got to deal with all those off the field distractions now because of what Gruden did. And it's going to result in this Raiders team probably having a very up and down rest of the season. They started off strong, 3-0, a lot of optimism in the air. And now it's like you lose 2 in a row. This news about Gruden comes out. Where do you go from here? So I'm looking at that Raiders locker room and I'm interested to see who's going to step up as the true leader. Is it going to be Derek Carr? Is it going to be somebody else? Because right now that's what the Raiders need. They need a leader to bring these guys back together and to now focus on the field, put their focus back on the games. They got to show up big here because it's going to be a tough spot. And if they lose again, all of a sudden you lose 3 in a row, it's going to be really tough, especially given how good that division is. And like we mentioned, how good the AFC is. So this is going to be a big game for the Raiders. But I just think given everything that's happened, this is a bad spot for them. Broncos going to be at home where they play very well. That defense, they're going to cause a lot of problems for the Raiders. I mean, look what a good defense the Bears did to the Raiders. This Broncos defense is going to have a field day against Carr and company. I think Bridgewater is going to bounce back. You got to remember, too, he almost came back and won that game against the Steelers, given the fact that he's fresh off of the concussion protocol. So I thought they maybe rushed him a little bit too soon back in that spot. So now that he does have another full week to get back into rhythm with this offense and get back into the thick of things, that's going to help him dramatically here. So I do like the Broncos to win by more than a field goal. Give me the Broncos -3. And yeah, I'm just interested to see how the Raiders look the rest of the season, given everything that's happened. So
yeah, and now we move to the game of the week, America's game of the week. We have the Cowboys and the Patriots. Here, the Cowboys are favored by 4 points at Foxborough. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens there. So, Luca, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going back and forth with this one. Could this be a trap game? But I think the Cowboys are for real, man. I really think this is going to be a team that you can consider a Super Bowl contender. It's -4. New England has been playing much better. I mean, Mac Jones, I've been very impressed by what I've seen from him. Even leading that comeback last week against the Texans, engineering those long drives, looking so poised in the pocket. I love how he throws the football with such composure, confidence, coolness. But again, going back to the Cowboys, that offense doing so many good things right now. The defense playing better in the last couple of weeks. I think it's going to be a tall task for Mac Jones and company to handle a Cowboys team that right now they are just proving a lot of people wrong, impressing a lot of analysts, impressing a lot of naysayers. Dak, you love to see it. I mean, this time last year, he was out for the rest of the season. He's putting up big time numbers. He's another guy you can maybe consider as an MVP candidate with the way he's been playing. That offense, dynamic. The Cowboys, they are rolling. They are playing great football and making Cowboys fans like you everywhere very, very happy and optimistic about what's to come. So, yeah, I love the Cowboys in this spot. -4. I think they get it done.
I love the endorsement, the Cowboys endorsement from Luca today. A fantastic job by you. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys as well. Foxborough, tough place to play. Rain or shine. I do think that the Cowboys are gonna have to come in here hot, rolling from the start of the game. Because if you start slow against a Belichick team, it's not gonna be good for you moving forward and down the stretch of the game. So I do recommend that they run the football because look, Tony Pollard, he's the speed, but Zeke, he is still that guy. He is, kind of resurrecting himself right now, looking like the 2016 Zeke, running through everybody, running around everybody. He's looking new. He's looking fresh, and that's really why the Cowboys offense is rolling because they're using the run game to help out the pass game. And then when you're talking about pass game, you're talking about CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. The tight ends have played great football this year. Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin helping out Dak and really being reliable in the passing game. And we never know. Maybe Michael Gallup makes his return this week. If not, it would probably be after the bye. But yeah, the offense is just too much for a Patriots defense here that still, questions about them. Are they good enough to really hold down the fort? Yes, Mac Jones having a good year right now. I do think, coming into the year, he was my rookie of the year pick. And he is in the running for that for sure. Because honestly, games like Sunday against the Texans where he pulls out a win where it wasn't really looking good for New England. That's why people are impressed with him so far in his career. But yeah, the Cowboys come in here hot, and they come in here with just a flat out better offense in terms of, putting points on the scoreboard and getting down the field at ease. So yeah, give me the Cowboys here, 4 points. But you never know what's going to happen, right? Foxborough, you never know. It might be a close game, might be a field goal game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that duel between Brady and the Patriots at home, and it was a closer game than what many people thought. So that could be the same theme here. We'll see what happens. Next game, Sunday Night Football. We got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, 4.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers. And why? I mean, when you're looking at Seattle, they don't have that guy. They don't have Russell Wilson. An unfortunate injury because Russell never gets hurt. So this is really odd. We haven't seen the Seahawks without Russell Wilson at the helm in like a decade. So this is going to be some weeks where we see the Seahawks really struggling on offense, I think, because you have that and the running game has not really been there, to be honest, and also injuries like Chris Carson this year. So yeah, I don't know if I could trust the Seahawks in this one. And they're playing on the road. Pittsburgh, I mean, they got a good win against Denver. They needed that one bad because, a slow start on the year. So now they could probably use this one. No Russell Wilson. You need this one, right? You need this one, especially when you're looking at their division. The Ravens running away right now. The Bengals, they did drop one, but they're still looking pretty good. And then the Browns. So to keep pace, the Steelers will have to get this one done. So that's why I'm going with the Steelers here. I'm going to say that Big Ben has a good game. I know that some people are like, okay, he should retire. He's not Big Ben anymore, all that sort of thing. But when you're looking at Seattle, they have the worst defense in the league right now. And they just let everything happen to them, whether it's the run game or passing game. So I see that the passing is going to be there. But keynote, Juju Smith-Schuster, he's not going to be there. Right, he got hurt, shoulder injury. He's done. Unfortunately, the Steelers, who really had playoff hopes this year, I don't know if they can do that without their number one guy. So if you are a fantasy owner this week, though, I say get yourselves some Chase Claypool in there. Shout out Canada. I think that he's going to have a big game because, the Seahawks defense, especially that secondary, I mean, they can't stop anybody. And I think Big Ben and company, they know that if they get a win here, now they really get the ball rolling. They really get things going in a division that's really tough. The AFC North, one of the tougher divisions in the league. They need some wins to keep pace.
Yeah, I agree with you. Steelers, I loved them last week, Jelani. That was a big win for them, and they just needed that. So I think this is going to be another must win for them, just given the circumstances. They're at home, they're the favorites, and they're taking on a Seahawks team that, yeah, like you said, they can't stop anybody, and they lose Russell Wilson, who is going to miss his first career NFL start. Crazy to think that. Geno Smith's going to get the call here. I don't trust him going up and playing against Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. I think it's going to be a tough go for him. And yeah, I think this is going to be a big spot for the Steelers offense to continue to air it out. Big Ben looked much better last week against the Broncos, a good Broncos defense. And now you're taking on the worst defense in the league. So he should be licking his chops and he should be bound for another big game. 4.5, it might be a little bit of a big number just because of the Steelers not usually covering big numbers. This is a team that I think I saw a stat whenever they're favored by at least 4 or more, they usually don't cover because it's a team that usually wins by field goals or makes things harder on themselves, especially in primetime games. But I do think Steelers will win by at least a touchdown, and this will be the beginning of the end for the Seahawks season. It's crazy to think because this is a team that's always in playoff contention, or it always seems like they're in playoff contention. But just given everything that's piling up on them, you're without Wilson, that defense is terrible. Who knows what happens with Pete Carroll moving forward? So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of question marks, I think, after the season in Seattle. And Pittsburgh, I think, is going to make it back-to-back wins here. So I like them in the spot.
Yep, I agree. And now for Monday Night Football, possibly a AFC playoff, battle that we might see this season. We have the Bills, we have the Titans. The Titans are underdogs here. The Bills favored 5.5 points. So, Luca, do you agree here or not?
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a game where people are thinking the Bills, they're going to come out with another dominant performance because look what they did against the Chiefs. I'm going to simply lay the points with them, but I'm going to go the other way. I think this is going to be a big spot for Tennessee to prove to people, hey, we're still here. Don't forget about us. I know we've had a slow start to the season, losing against the Jets, but this is a Titans team that I think will control the clock. I think it's going to be a big game for Henry. He's going to pound the football. Tannehill doesn't make the mistakes that other quarterbacks seem to make. He's a game manager. Maybe they can have Julio Jones back into the mix. Even if he doesn't go, you got A.J. Brown. The Titans looked a lot better last week in a game that they had to have against Jacksonville. I'm not saying the Titans are going to win this game outright, but what I am saying, Jelani, is they will cover this number. I think it's going to be a close game. 5.5, too many points for me. Titans are going to keep it interesting late, and I would not be surprised if this is a little bit of a spot where the Bills let their guard down and they're still hung up about that win against the Chiefs, and they take the Titans lightly here. So Tennessee, they're at home. That crowd's going to be rocking. This, I think, is going to be a big statement performance from this Titans team. Wouldn't be surprised if they even upset the Bills in this spot, but I'll say they do cover the 5.5. And I think overall, this is going to be a fantastic game from both teams.
Yeah, this is going to be a game where we might say, okay, Titans, who are you, right? Because a lot of people fail to mention the Titans among the best teams in the AFC. I do think that they get disrespected every single year. I don't know why people don't really care about them. Is it because of Tannehill? I just don't know why. I do like their team. I think that they are the class of the AFC South this season, given everything going on in Jacksonville, Houston, and then Indy just not playing up to par. So this would be a nice win for them on their schedule, especially because I do think this might be a playoff preview. We might see these two teams battling each other in January. But I'm going to go with the Bills here. The Bills are just rolling right now. They have, again, like I said, they have the best roster in the AFC, probably the most well-rounded in the league right now. And Josh Allen, MVP candidate right now. He's looking really, really good. And we saw what happened against the Chiefs. They came in there on the road. A lot of people, including myself, said it wasn't going to go down for them. They wouldn't show up. They wouldn't be that team putting 40 on the scoreboard, but they did. They went crazy on KC. However, when you're looking at the Bills so far this season and you're saying, okay, their offense lethal, right? They haven't played the best defenses in the league, right? There are some games, the Texans, I mean, come on. The Washington football team, their defense has been a bit sketch this season. As for the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense is just nowhere to be found, right? And as for the Titans, when you're looking at Monday night, the Titans have a pretty good defense, not one of the better defenses in the league, not, a stingy defense, but I do think that, this is a game where we need to expect some points, right? Because the Bills want to prove that it's not just against the easy defenses that they could put points on the board. The Titans are pretty solid on defense, right? So I do think that points will be here. Expect things happening in the air attack with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Knox from the tight end spot. He had a great game against the Chiefs. So rely on him. I think Josh Allen will. But yeah, the defense for the Bills, they'll have to come up big because Derrick Henry is there, and he's a great runner of the football. Again, he's on pace to have a great year in terms of yardage. But yeah, I think that the Bills are just the better team here. I have more faith in them rather than the Titans, who did drop a game against the Jets. I still remember that. Okay, Titans fans, I didn't forget about that one. So I do think that I have to put more trust and more faith in the Bills.
Okay, we'll see what happens, but that's going to conclude our Week 6 picks against the spread. Jelani and I were pretty close in terms of our overall records, so it's going to be a big week for the both of us. But as always, thank you so much for watching Spreadzies. Good luck with your picks, and we'll catch you again next week. Take care, everyone.